Hello, my beautiful friend. It's Betsy Gutting. Welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about the Jupiter in Aries transit, which began May 10th of 2022 and is taking us all the way into mid-May of 2023. Jupiter transits each sign for about a year. So Jupiter has not been in the fire sign, the sign of catapulting us forward, of igniting the fire in our belly, of getting us to want to initiate new things. It's a very motivational energy. It's where we get our mojo back. It's where we get inspired to take new action. It's a brand new beginnings energy, and it hasn't been here for 12 years. So in this video, I want to talk with you about what Jupiter in Aries means for you and why it's important, how it can help you. I want to talk about the last time Jupiter was in Aries, actually the last 3 times, so you can look for themes and see what the theme might be for you this time around. And there's a special aspect that's actually happening as I film this. Jupiter and Mars in Aries conjuncting, which is really giving us a burst of new energy and new power and a boost forward. And then I want to talk about where it's happening for you based on your sun sign and your rising sign, where it's happening for you in your chart and how you can navigate this energy. So before I get into it, I want to tell you I am so excited. I might cry. I'm so excited to share with you that my beautiful new grandbaby, his name is Cash Jordan. Cash Jordan made it Earthside, was born May 26th. I didn't think I was gonna get this emotional. May 26th, I'm filming this on May 27th. So he's been with us for about a little over 24 hours now. He's absolutely beautiful, 9 pounds, 21 inches. And my daughter has quite a birth story. Wow, quite a birth story. So I think I'm going to tell you just a smidgen of that when we talk about Jupiter and Mars conjunct, because when he was born, there were 5 planets in Aries. 5, you know how much fire that is to have in a natal astrology chart? And of course, the Jupiter-Mars conjunction is very active right now. And so from what occurred during the birth, it really seemed to flavor their experience. So thank you for letting me share that with you. I had to share that with you. He's my second grandchild. He has a big brother. So super exciting, and everyone's doing really well. And I also want to say hi if you're new to me. I am an intuitive life coach as well as a psychic astrologer, and I love helping you to tune into your heart for what is calling to you, to help you create a vision for your this next chapter of your life. We're in brand new beginnings with Jupiter in Aries. We could not be in a more new beginnings time than this. This is a beautiful time to get an astrology reading, to get clear on your gifts, talents, and feel empowered by the transits that are going on for you right now, what is coming up for you in terms of transits, how can you work with the energies that are going on in your astrology chart, or do a clarity coaching session with me, or soul alchemy coaching, which is working together on a monthly basis to really create a big shift, positive shift, empowering shift in your life. So I'll leave the links below to my services, and I have a free gift for you. And the free gift I will tell you about at the end of this video, so be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video so I can tell you about your free gift. I'm also offering my book right now, The Magic of Saying Yes, Answering Your Heart's True Calling, for just $1.99. So if you would like to partner with your spirit, your higher self, if you really want to feel connected as you move into the next chapter of your life and you would like extra support, my book is one that has a number of exercises, meditations, lots of stories from my own life of overcoming adversity. I will leave the link below to my book as well, and you can download that instantly on Amazon for just $1.99. So let's get into it. I love this quote from Howard Thurman. This really epitomizes for me the Jupiter and Aries transit. And Howard Thurman says, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what brings you alive. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. So Jupiter in Aries is really about coming alive. This is what this energy can do for us. Now, Jupiter as a planet is all about expansion. Whatever Jupiter touches, it expands, either for the positive or the negative. So it's really important during this time that we expect the best, that we hold our intentions to be positive and growthful and satisfying and fulfilling. Jupiter is known to bring in good fortune. It's known to bring in luck, and knowing that life has your back, knowing that you are taken care of, you're protected, you're guided, and you are a spiritual being having a human experience. This is the essence of Jupiter. Jupiter is about faith, it's about hope, freedom, and optimism. When Jupiter is in a fire sign, especially, we tend to feel very optimistic and buoyed and buoyant and positive and looking forward to the next thing. I love the intention, every day I get better and better and better. Every day I'm better and better and better. You may have an intention that works more, that works even better for you. But I love that intention because this is really the essence of this energy. And you may want to come up with your own I am intention. Like, I am unstoppable. I am growing and thriving and having the best life ever. Now, Jupiter will be in Aries between May 10th of 2022 and May 16th of 2023. It will go back into Pisces for a short period of time between November 24th and December 20th. And then it will go direct again and go back into Aries late December into mid-May of 2023. Aries energy is cardinal fire. Cardinal is where we start things, we initiate things, we feel that fire burning in the belly, we feel inspired. Aries energy is all about acting on inspiration. Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the masculine principle that takes action. So with this energy, wherever this is happening in your chart, and we'll be getting there at the end of this video, you will likely feel a push forward, a push to take action. Aries rules the first house in the zodiac. So this is the self. This is our self-image. It's how we view ourselves. It's how we want others to see us. It's our identity. So whenever we shift our identity, this is a very life-shifting thing. Even if you're shifting your identity from working to retired, or from a college student to going out to work, or from someone who, has a job to somebody who starts their own business, or when you become a parent or you become a grandparent, all of these shifts are changes in role. And so a lot of us during this next year are going to have a shift in role. Even if you go from like being partnered in terms of boyfriend and girlfriend with someone and you get married, right? That's a big shift. So these are the kinds of shifts that a lot of us are going to experience. Now, even if it's not a big shift in role for you like that, it could be a shift where you do something different, you do something new that gives you a whole new level of confidence. This is definitely an up-leveling energy where we take a step and it's something that feels very scary to us, and we muster up the courage to do it, and then we feel unstoppable. Then we feel like, wow, if I could do that, I could do anything. This is the kind of thing that often happens during a Jupiter in Aries transit. Aries is the spiritual warrior archetype. Aries wants to win. Aries wants to succeed. Aries is ambitious energy, and it's very independent energy. So this is often something that we want to do independently. We want to do it on our own. We want to show our true colors. We want to learn more about ourselves. When I think of Aries energy, I think of going beyond limits. So Jupiter in Aries really is about us going beyond our previous limits. And Aries also rules the physical body. So oftentimes we will find ourselves wanting to build more strength during an Aries transit, or wanting to be more physical. It's really important during a Jupiter in Aries transit that we move our energy. It's important all the time, but especially during this transit, because one of the kind of side effects of Jupiter in Aries can be we have more frustration, more anger than we've had before. And so it's important that we move that frustration or anger out of our bodies. It's also really important that we ground our energy, because I don't know how it's been for you the last few days. If you're listening to this in late May, I have definitely felt electrified by this energy. And so we really have to ground the energy or we will burn out. You can definitely burn out with Jupiter and Aries energy. You have to pace yourself. So you don't have to do it all at once. A lot of times with Jupiter and Aries, we feel like, oh my gosh, I've got to go to the edge of the cliff and leap off. It is a leap and the net will appear kind of energy. There is that increased faith that if I do this, if I build it, they will come. If I take the leap, I will be taken care of. That is often what we're feeling during this energy. There is this kind of just know feeling. I just know I have to do this. I just know that I just have to say yes. So where in your life are you ready for a new beginning? A new beginning amplified. Where in your life are you ready to feel inspired? Do you need inspiration? Where you're ready to say yes to your own desire. The key word with Aries energy is desire. We have to allow ourselves to go with a heart's desire, to follow our inspiration and have faith that it is leading us somewhere. It's leading us to our growth. If you were ever wondering whether you should take a risk, Aries energy is where we take risks. Aries is a courageous energy. It's willing to take a risk to gain a great reward. Now, the last time that Jupiter was in Aries was January 2010 to June 2011. So you might want to grab a pen or a pencil and write down these dates so that you can then go back in your own memory and think, what was going on in my life during that time? So the first one was the last time, January 2010 to June 2011. The time before that was February 1999 to February 2000. And then for those of you who were born at this time, it was March 1987 to March 1998. So you might want to, like I said, write those dates down and think about what were the themes that were involved for you. Now, whatever theme that you notice, if you notice a theme between, say, 2010, 2011, and now what's going on in your life, know that it will be at a higher octave for you. It will be, you've grown, you've changed. You are not the same person you were 12 years ago. So you may experience it in a different form, but still with a similar theme. And I'll give you a quick example. So the last 3 transits of Jupiter in Aries for me have all been career related because I have Aries in my 10th house of career. In 2010, I needed to make a shift in who I was marketing my coaching, my spiritual coaching work to. Now, the interesting thing about 2010 is even though it was happening in my house of career, and I did feel like I was in a little bit of a rut, like I was trying to get things reinvigorated for myself and my career. But the big change that I made was I decided to take a flying trapeze class. And you might say, what does flying trapeze have to do with career? Unless you wanted to join the circus, which was not at all what I was thinking about. But a lot of times when we take a risk in one area, it ripples out to every other area of our lives. So I was looking for something that would be a challenge. In Aries energy, we want a challenge. We want to test our limits. We want to see what we can do. And even though I thought when I first saw the offering for this 3-day class in flying trapeze, I was like, no way, I'm sure everyone's really good at it. I've never ever done it before. I've never ever climbed the ladder up to the platform to swing off. I've never done that. And I don't want to be the only one in the class that's never done it before, right? These things that we think of when we're about to do something scary. Even though all of that was true, there was something inside of me that said, but what if I could do it? What if I could experience that feeling of flight? That amazing feeling of flight. And so I took one step and I called the flying trapeze place and I said, I see this class, like, do you have to know how to do flying trapeze to take this class? And he said, absolutely not, it's for beginners. There will be some people that have done it before, but brand new beginners, you're gonna be very well taught and you're gonna be guided through the whole thing. and it'll be lots of like-minded circus family people. And when he said that, when he's like, come join our circus family, something about that just warmed my heart. And I thought, okay, I'm willing to take the risk. I'm willing to do it. And the other interesting thing I want to tell you about my flying trapeze experience is that you would think that the scariest part would be flying through the air, right? Or letting go of the platform and taking off on the bar. And you'd think that would be the scariest part. But what I learned was the scariest part was climbing up that 25-foot ladder, thinking about how scary it might be when I took off on the bar. It's that thinking, it's our minds create all this fear. Our minds go into fight, flight, or freeze, that lizard brain reaction. But once I was at the top, once I was on the platform and he hooked me in, you're always hooked in, and he said, grab the bar, and he said, okay, you're about to go. Once I was flying through the air, once I let go, I was fine. In fact, I had fun. I loved it. I loved flying through the air. I loved letting go of the bar and reaching my arms out for the catcher and linking up with the catcher and flying off together. I loved that. So that's one thing I really learned from this whole experience, is that the fear is often just a physical experience that we're having in our body that our mind is creating. But once we do the thing, once we take a small step, then we're in flight. Then we feel free. Then we have this beautiful, exhilarating experience of something we never thought we could do before we took that step. Now I'm going to go over where this is happening for all 12 signs, where it's happening in which area of your life. But before that, we need to touch briefly on the Jupiter-Mars conjunction. The Jupiter-Mars conjunction began around the 25th of May or so is when you may have been feeling it. And it's exact on May 29th, Sunday, May 29th, which happens to be my birthday, which I'm really excited about, is happening on that day. That's exact. But I think we're going to be feeling this energy at least 5 days after that. So I would say into around June 4th, June 5th or so. And maybe we'll feel it even beyond that. But there's this kind of week-long window of time between like the last week of May, the first few days of June, that we may really be feeling this energy. Now, Jupiter next to Mars, really a new beginnings, amplified energy, especially because we have the Gemini new moon on May 30th. So the day after the exact conjunction of Jupiter and Mars in Aries, we have the Gemini new moon. And during the Gemini new moon, it makes a sextile to Mars and Jupiter. So because of that, we have this new cycle with this Gemini new moon of 2 weeks after the Gemini new moon, the first 2 weeks of June, that we are in this energy of brand new beginnings. Like I said, amplified. And because Mercury rules Gemini, I really want to encourage you to look out for signs or synchronicities, especially during this time into mid-June. Listen to the signs, listen to things that other people are telling you. If someone tells you to do something or suggest something to you and it's already been suggested to you by 2 other people, that is a sign. If you get an inspired idea right now during this time and it feels scary to you, that is a sign. That is a good sign. Anything that feels scary, it reminds me of the Eleanor Roosevelt quote. Do something every day that scares you, she says. And I love the Goethe quote, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. This is a time that we can really activate the magic in our lives. Many of us, a lot of us have been missing that feeling of magic, of synchronicity, of things happening that feel just completely divinely inspired. And right now, when we take a step that feels scary, that feels out of our comfort zones, that goes beyond our previous limits, we are going to have the opportunity to catapult ourselves into a whole nother level of confidence and courage. And this reminds me of my daughter's birth story, her story and her husband's story. And so, as I said at the beginning of the video, my daughter and her husband had their baby, my grandbaby Cash Jordan, on May 26th. And circling back to their birth story, they were having a home birth. And so with a home birth, you call the midwife when the contractions are getting to the point where you think, I'm getting close. And so they paged the midwife, as she had instructed them to do, 4 times, and she never received any of their pages. Mercury was retrograde. And so literally my daughter is coming to the point where the contractions are just really very, she's in her transition period, as we call it. And she says, the baby is coming out, like the baby is coming. And fortunately, they were able to call the midwife's personal phone number at that point and get her on the phone. But basically, my daughter and her husband birthed their own baby. They birthed their own baby. And I asked my daughter, how was that experience for you? Were you scared? What was it like? I can't believe this happened. And she said, Mama, I just was so in the zone. It was like, I wasn't afraid. No, I wasn't afraid. It's like, he was coming. Like, what could we do? And, it reminded me of this Aries, this Mars-Jupiter conjunction in Aries, because when we're in the zone, it's like we can do things that we never would have been able to think that we could do. And she said, Mama, I feel like I can do anything now. So what an epitome of this energy that we're in right now. So let's go through the 12 signs. I'm going to tell you which area of life, based on your rising sign, you are experiencing Jupiter in Aries. Listen for your sun sign as well, because your sun sign will tell you where this energy is happening on the inner level in your inner being, and your rising sign will tell you where it's happening in which area of your life, practically speaking. I also want to encourage you to go to my Gemini new moon video, because I did readings for all 12 signs, including oracle card readings and messages from spirit on the Gemini new moon, as well as the Jupiter-Mars conjunction. Aries, this Jupiter in Aries transit is happening in your first house of identity, of your appearance, your look, of your status, the role that you play in the world, and how you want other people to see you. So this is your Jupiter return, Aries, your Jupiter return. And this is where you can get your mojo back if you feel like you've been missing it, if you feel like you've been disconnected from yourself. It's also where we often make a big change, where we often make a big shift in how we are putting ourselves out in the world, how we are showing ourselves to others. So you may find yourself, Aries, becoming more independent in some way, or more courageous, or feeling more confident in self during this time. Taurus, this Jupiter in Aries transit is happening in your 12th house. So this is an expansion for your mystical self. This is your subconscious mind, and perhaps healing on the subconscious level. This is where we go to retreat. This is where we pull inward. With Jupiter here, you could have an expansion of your connection to spirit. You could be doing more kind of mystical kinds of activities. You could get more into the esoteric arts. You might be doing more learning on some metaphysical modality, or you could find yourself just drifting off to sleep one night and end up going through a whole astral travel experience, or having more lucid dreams, or remembering your dreams more, having more powerful dreams and more powerful visions. This is a really exciting place to be having the Jupiter in Aries transit. And so I hope that it really brings an expansion of your inner world to you, and an expansion of your connection to spirit, Taurus. Gemini, this transit of Jupiter in Aries is happening in your 11th house of communities, of friendship. It's social media. It's literally where you're putting yourself out. If you do any sort of branding or marketing, or, if you have a YouTube channel, or you put videos on TikTok, like, this is for you a place to really expand or maybe do it differently, do something differently, do a new social media platform that you haven't done before. This is a time that you're going to be thinking probably about how can you expand your networks. This is definitely a networking kind of influence. It's also the house, the 11th house of hopes, wishes, and dreams. In the tarot, it's the star card. It's our biggest wish and hope and dream that you have right now. So whatever that is, you might find that getting activated right now, or that coming true, that coming into your life, Gemini. Cancer, you are having this transit in your 10th house. I'm Cancer, moon, and rising. As I mentioned, this is a 10th house transit for me. And this is where you're focused on career, retirement, if you're retiring, your legacy, what you want to leave to others. It's basically where you want more meaning in your life, how you want to spend your time. This is a soul-inspired kind of action that you would be taking. So for most Cancers who are still working, you're probably going to have this come up in the area of career. You might want to start a new business. You might want to change jobs. You might have something new come into your life that kind of pushes something else out of the way and becomes a bigger priority. Whatever brings you meaning. It's very, very important right now, Cancer, to only take action on the things that that will really light you up, that will really light the fire in your belly. This is a directive to do what brings you alive. Leo, this is happening for you in your 9th house. The 9th house is teaching, it's higher learning, it's where we're the student or the teacher, it's where we take adventures, it's international travel. The 9th house is our spirituality and our spiritual beliefs. So you could be having a change or an ignition of inspiration in any of these areas. You might be taking a course, you might want to start a training program where you are then, offering a spiritual modality to others. You might be starting your own business. You might want to be going to an ashram or going to a monastery, or just doing a lot of kind of travel, or, what do they call it? Armchair travel, having to do with your spirituality and your spiritual beliefs and how you see the world and how you think about it. So this is a time, Leo, to really give yourself permission to have more adventure in your life, to do more seeking. This is really a seeker's kind of transit. Virgo, this is happening for you in your 8th house of transformation, of death and rebirth, of shared resources, of other people's money, where we get loans, where we get inheritances, where we have a windfall of money sometimes. It's also connected to real estate. So you could be buying a house, or you could be making another big investment. It's tied to our investments. It's tied to retirement money. So this is a time, Virgo, when you could have some sort of wonderful thing come into your life that's given to you by someone else, something that you find very valuable. It could be a time when you are experiencing a transformation, a real inner shift where you are shedding a skin. But it's, with Jupiter and Aries, as I said, it's often about feeling ignited, feeling inspired. So I think for a lot of people, it will be some sort of blessing or gift that comes in through another person, and often through a partner. Libra, this is happening, this Jupiter and Aries transit, in your 7th house of partnerships, and also, all kinds of relationships that are where you are committed to the other person. So it could be a client relationship, it could be a close family relationship. It's a relationship that means a lot to you, where there's commitment on both sides, where you have a mutually reciprocal kind of bond and sharing. And so for you to have Jupiter in Aries and Jupiter Mars conjuncting in your 7th house, that is really exciting. If you are partnered, you could have a real positive change in your partnership. If you are wanting a partner, what a beautiful time to bring in a partner, to attract a partner during this time, Libra. So you definitely want to take advantage of this energy. Take a risk. Do something that feels scary. You will grow in your courage and your confidence as you do so. It could be where you're also taking a relationship to the next level, where you are going from, dating somebody to moving in with them, or, living together and now you want to get married. It could be that kind of shift as well. Scorpio, this transit is happening in your 6th house of work, of routines. It's what we do on a daily repetitive basis. So it's your schedules, it's how you structure your day, it's your nutrition, it's your exercise, it's, what your workout routine is. And it's your health. Overall, it's our health. Also our mental health. So having Jupiter in Aries light the fire in your belly in your 6th house, this could do with getting a new job, a better job, a job that's more fulfilling, that pays more, that kind of thing. Or it could have to do with your health and really wanting to get stronger in your body, get healthier, exercise more, that kind of thing, Scorpio. Sagittarius, this transit is happening in your 5th house. You are having Jupiter in Aries, all of this fire igniting, lighting you up, bringing you a new possibility in your 5th house of romance, of true love, of creativity, and children. So it could be any of those things. This would be a great transit for getting more into your creativity if you do any sort of art or craft. Anything that you've been wanting to do or that you've been wanting to take to the next level, this is a beautiful time to experience that. Also a beautiful time to have a new romance or to take a romance to the next level or to really attract your true love during this time, Sagittarius. Capricorns, you are having a Jupiter in Aries transit in your 4th house of home, family, and your inner self. So this could mean a move, a house move. It could mean where you're redecorating or you're remodeling your home. It could be where you are having a big inner shift in the way you see yourself, a big healing of some childhood trauma perhaps, or something that you're really experiencing a positive shift in the way you view your childhood and the way you, like I said, something very healing could come for you during this time. You could be feeling very ignited in terms of family, of wanting to shift something within your family, or if just maybe you want to move to another country, maybe you want to move to another state, maybe you're ready for just a whole new horizon, a whole new change in these realms of where you live, who you associate with. It's not just your family of origin, it can be your soul family. It can be who do you want to be spending most of your time with. If you can take a risk, Capricorn, in any of these areas, take that risk. It will definitely pay off rewards for you. Aquarius, you're having this transit in your 3rd house. You're feeling the fire lit in your belly when it comes to your neighbors, your neighborhood, your close environment. This is connected to siblings. It's connected to communication. It's the writers, the area of writing. So it could be where you're starting a blog or where you're writing a book, or any sort of communication. You could be a speaker, you could be creating new presentations. This is where you are also making a lot of networking connections in your immediate environment. It's a great time to take a trip, a short trip. It's a great time to take day trips or long weekends to get inspired. But this is a transit where you're really going to feel something shift in a positive way, a lighting up in the areas of your neighborhood especially. And finally, Pisces, this transit is happening in your 2nd house of income, of your values, of what really is important to you, of your self-esteem and your soul esteem. So this is where you might be bringing in new income. You might have a job change. You might be promoted. This is where you're really feeling a strong desire to shift something that has to do with your values, what you value, or your possessions. You could be getting a new car. You could be getting something that's new and really valuable to you. But this is where you are doing this from the inside out. You're earning this. You're bringing this in. You're creating this. And you have made a decision, Pisces, long before this, when Jupiter was in Pisces, actually, of what you really wanted. And now is the opportunity to bring this into fruition, to really act on your inspiration, to just say yes. Thank you for your time, energy, and presence. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to like the video, leave me a comment, let me know what resonated for you. I absolutely love your comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my next video. My friend, there's nothing more empowering than a personal astrology reading. If you would like to know which of your natal astrology planets and points, your personal planets, are being touched, are being activated by this Jupiter in Aries transit, it's a whole year-long transit. And if you want more insight into your gifts, your talents, your life purpose, your dharma, whatever it is that you are wanting to activate in your life, that you're wanting to feel more empowered on, make sure you go to my website and check out my astrology readings, as well as my clarity coaching and my soul alchemy coaching. I would love to serve you. It would be my joy and my honor. And as promised, I have a free gift for you. Your free gift is a guided meditation, returning home to yourself, returning home to your heart. To get your free guided meditation, just go to my website, sign up for my inspirational updates, and you'll get an instant download of my meditation, Returning Home to Yourself. I will be back very soon. I upload videos every Sunday, and until then, I'm sending you all my love.